Friday to everyone in the sports universe. This is the AM Drive live in your face on Twitter and YouTube for the champion that we are not worthy of, Aaron Crouch. I am the loser that we are worthy of, Michael Carvelis. Aaron, congrats and darn me. How about
that? Thanks. Yeah, it's been a hell of a few days here in Vegas. Super getting excited for the parade on Saturday, which is tomorrow. God, everything's running together now. Tomorrow on the Strip. Very excited for that. Gonna try to get out of work early so we can attend that. So it's been a fun few days. It's what a way to end it, huh? I mean, 9 goals, just an outright domination. It's with the exception of one period and a short overtime, I'm not even sure the Florida Panthers got off the bus in this series.
Just hold on now. You were just saying it the last game. Explain yourself.
Too much credit. I gave them way too much credit.
Well, let's talk about that first. First, tell us about Fanatics, because you are a fanatic, obviously. Then we'll start with the Vegas thing.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going right to Fanatics. All right. Well, it's very simple. I want to get that sweet either Nugget Championship or Golden Knight Championship merchandise. You got to go right here, MikeandAaronDrive.com. You got to click that logo, Fanatics. It says click the F. It literally walks you right to it. Shop until your heart's content. Everything right now. All the championship gear. Of course, NFL season's coming up. Baseball's in full effect. MikeandAaronDrive.com. Click the Fanatics logo. Shop. Buy all the goodies for you and your sports fans in your life. And help out this channel tremendously.
I love the word tremendously. It's like it become like a part of the trademark here.
Yeah, it does help out the channel.
Tremendously.
Tremendously. So do it.
Baseball's in full swing, by the way. It's okay to say that.
I thought I did say full swing there.
You said full effect. Like full effect, what is this, a movie?
Yeah, well, swing's just like a bad pun.
It really is. It's a bat pun. Good Lord. All right. So Vegas did dominate the team that didn't get off the bus per this Golden Knights pal, this expert over here. Aaron, explain yourself on that point, because you from Monday to Friday, you're like me right now, just changing the tunes.
I mean, it's easy to change the tune when the series is over and you look and you reflect on the series. Now, I mean, once you talk about Matthew Tkachuk getting injured, Game 4, doesn't play in Game 5. I mean, he's, regardless of your thoughts about him, and I have some thoughts about him, he's still a key member of the Panthers team and obviously a main reason why they were even in that spot in the first place. So reflecting on the series, it was absolute drubbing. Like I said, even going into that third game that they lost, they were up 2-1. They let the Panthers hang around, catch one with a few seconds left, and then ultimately win it in overtime. But I mean, you tell me, from an outsider's perspective, was this not just an absolute ass kicking? I mean, 5-2, 7-2, a close victory, 3-2, and then a 9-3 clincher. I mean, come on.
Ooh, clinch. No, it was a beatdown of beatdowns. It was a spanking of spankings. It was gross because I picked the Golden Knights to win in Game 5. I actually picked the most of the series. But seeing just the way that they just pantsed them in the final game, you're right. Hindsight is a beautiful woman. She is a you-know-what. And she's ugly right now to the South Florida teams in general. Because, like I said, from the outsiders looking in, this did not look good. And I actually had the pleasure of watching some games. Did not watch the last game. I'm actually kind of happy I didn't. Because if there was no fight at the end of a 9-goal thing, Florida Panthers ain't about that life. Key John Morant.
Well, to me, I mean, and, people can argue this, they scored goals after that. But I thought when it was 3-0 Knights, I thought Florida just gave up. I thought they were just, Bob couldn't catch a cold. Bob couldn't stop anything. I mean, they left him out there too. I mean, I think Paul Maurice, because I believe Bobrovsky is somehow gone next year, whether he's not the starter or he's not even in Florida next year. I think Bobrovsky is gone. I think he left him out there with his pants down. I mean, he literally left him out there to embarrass the crap out of him. I mean, and you know what? I don't feel sorry for Bobrovsky. I mean, he was literally playing Matador defense in goal. I mean, 9 goals. Well, he allowed 8 goals. One of them was an empty netter, obviously. But hats off to Jonathan Marchessault, an original Golden Knight, one of the ones who, ironically, was Florida Panther, who was drafted.
Oh,
Yes.
that's sweet.
He was the expansion pick by Vegas from the Florida Panthers, and he won the Conn Smythe, which is playoff MVP. So that had to be a kind of a sweet feeling. And I know he didn't talk about it, but I'm sure he wants to bring it up.
Just yawn, just do it. Just let it out.
I held it.
But no, so yeah, no, I agree because he's the run. He's one of the. I don't know if every team has. I think they can allow more than one player to go to the expansion draft, but it is interesting. One of the runts, as they are, one of those outcasts, one of those rejects.
Well, they are known as the Misfits, the original 6 that are left from the first year. Him and actually Coach Cassidy did a nice play as well. You said you didn't catch that game. So obviously there's 6 Misfits. There's 4 forwards, 2 defensemen that are still left in the original team. He started 5 of them.
Wow.
He put all 5 out in the starting lineup. Unfortunately, Carrier, obviously you can't put him anywhere unless you put him in goal, which you're not going to do that. But he started 5 out of the 6, which is a pretty cool thing to see, and a kind of a nice tip of the cap to the expansion era. And it did not go unnoticed. A lot of people on social media, a lot of people in the building, when they were announcing the starting lineup, really cheered, and they knew what the moment meant. And it feels pretty crazy, like a culmination. I mean, as a person who's been here since day one, put my season ticket bid in when it wasn't even a team. You know, it was a thought of a team, and they said, "Hey, let's do a season ticket drive to see if this city's even interested in hockey in the desert." And we sold out in a day. Season tickets. You know, everybody's sitting there with their, on their mouse clicking refresh to put down a deposit on season tickets.
Guilty. Sorry.
Yeah, and for the first year to have all of that excitement lead to heartbreak, and then for the owner who said we're going to win the cup in 6 years to nail it Nostradamus style. It's just been a movie that you almost couldn't write. It had to write itself, and it did, and it finally culminated on Tuesday night, and the party hasn't stopped since. It's been crazy. It really has.
It's as far as the party not stopping. The Buffalo Bandits have actually been partying too, but aside from that, it is interesting the hockey expansion thing. It not only shows this parity in the NHL. Another thing I was thinking of: what would the 30 for 30 catchphrase be? Because they're going to make a Vegas Golden Knights thing, like in maybe 10, 15 years from now. It's like, what if I told you a group of misfits played hockey in the desert, or something like that?
Yeah, what if I told you that a group of players nobody wanted gathered and descended upon Sin City to create the ultimate movie ending, or ultimate fairy tale hockey team, or something? I don't know.
We'll simplify it. You get it, but I like that.
30 for 30, the Vegas Golden Knights.
Last thing I'll ask you, if Tkachuk played, does it matter?
It's hard to say yes. It really is. The only thing I think of is if Tkachuk played, where if it was 3-0, 4-0, I don't remember how the score exactly went. I think it was like 3-1, then 4-1, then 5-1. At what point does Tkachuk get himself tossed from this game? I mean, he had
actually been a fight.
4 game misconducts.
That's gross.
It's 4 game misconduct. I think if 3 game misconducts. Excuse me. 3 game misconducts, a 10-minute misconduct in 4 games played. I mean, that's insane.
It's kind of dirty and cheap, but everyone's like, "Oh, we love a gritty guy." No, it's stupid, is what it is.
Yeah, I just like to hopefully, and it won't, because Twitter is Twitter and it's a cesspool. But I'd hopefully like to eventually just put an end to this whole gifted a franchise, because every single person that was drafted was obviously cast away by their team, we're talking your 8th best forward, your 6th best, your 5th best defenseman, or your backup goalie.
Mm-hmm.
All the pundits, you can see there's receipts everywhere how the Knights were supposed to be bad, of course. But of course, people on Twitter, they were gifted this franchise. I mean, on one hand, they were gifted some better players than, yes, the Wild and the Blue Jackets 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was 20 years ago.
But there is no reason that any team, Kraken, Golden Knights, whatever, should come in and just be a complete dumpster fire. That's not good for the league. I'm sorry that your team hasn't won the cup in 60 years, but your team could have won the cup when there were half the number of teams in the league, or even a number of teams in the league.
Or your team could have won the cup when they were up 3-1 on these same pesky Panthers.
It's true. Looking at you,
wow.
Looking at you, Bruins. Yeah, and it's not even really the Bruins fans. It's a lot of the Edmontons and Torontos, and I'm looking at
Edmonton's frustrating because, you really, it's like you got the 2 of the best players in the world. You ain't doing mess with it. Just shut up,
Yeah, but that's not Vegas's fault. That is your fault.
Bingo.
Looking at you, whoever runs the World Hockey Report Twitter. Good Lord, man. Grow a spine. I'm calling you out. Grow a spine.
What did he say, during this game? Was he pulling up the BS too?
Everything.
See, that's too PC to me. Have an opinion, man.
Well, who? Me?
No, not you. Everybody else. This too. World Hockey Report's too good to be all PC like that.
No, I don't think he's PC in a sense. I think he's very nitpicky and,
Edmonton friendly?
Well, of course they're Edmonton friendly, but I don't know. I feel like they've kind of molded into the rest of hockey Twitter. This isn't a dig at Cody because I don't think he runs the account.
He doesn't.
But to me, it's just like everyone else. There's, you want hockey to be a physical sport, and then when it is physical, you're like, oh, that should be a suspension. He can't come out of the box, and the game. Who cares if the game was over? Read the rules. 10-game suspension. He should be suspended. Bro, the game was over. Talking about the end of Game 4. It's like the game was over. That's not considered a stoppage of play. That's considered the end of the freaking game, bro. Anyways,
and Panthers shouldn't have done the cheap stuff either. So we can fight all day.
That's not. Nobody's denying that. You guys. I mean, they've literally been scabs the entire series. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad. I don't feel any kind of bad for Florida in this series. I really don't.
They got their butt kicked. What do you want? What do you want Vegas to do? Well, darn it, shucks. You guys played a great series. Here's a game. No, you beat them down until you finish them.
The Twitter replies, "Oh, why are you calling so many penalties? Too many penalties. Come, let them play. Let them play."
That's dumb.
And then the very next game, they're like, "They're not calling enough penalties. This is a penalty. That's a penalty." It's like, well, do you want to let them play or do you want them to call penalties? I understand that the referees are more under microscopes than ever in all sports.
It's no excuse for fans to be that stupid.
Yeah, it's like you can't be flip-flop day to day on how you want your game called.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into this a negative conversation, but since it went there, I'm just going to say I find it just blows my mind why fans are they all casuals on Twitter? Is there just so much people on Twitter that don't know what they're talking about? It seems like these people know a little bit of sports. You cannot be looking at it with that color of glasses that you think it's just so completely biased. Okay, well, if Florida wins, are Vegas fans going to say the same thing? Not you, but others.
Some will.
You can't win.
If there's some glaring ones, I mean, obviously everybody talks about in any sport. The play that ended the Super Bowl, the holding, was it or wasn't it? There's always talk of the officials. I mean, hockey is a sport of physicality in the sense of it's like the old adage in football. You could call holding on every play. Well, yeah, you could call a few cross checks or some roughing penalties, but if we're letting them play, the style of the game leads to some of those things just kind of happening in a natural flow. So when two guys get tangled up, and yes, there were some missed calls, of course, but if two guys get tangled up and they're going at each other, and one guy's stick, happens to take the other guy down, sometimes they might not call a tripping penalty, if you want them to be physical, you can't also turn around and say, well, they missed 7 calls. It's like, no, you can't have it both ways. But I don't know.
7 calls.
It's taking away from what we have here. And And, you can't take this away. I know the Aces won the first championship technically in Las Vegas, and no disrespect to them, but this will be the one that is remembered by
Right.
Vegas,
Well, yeah.
Vegas-born, Vegas locals. I know that the Raiders are here, and perhaps the A's, and perhaps even a basketball franchise.
Courtesy of LeBron or Michael. What if Michael Jordan does that before LeBron does, and that's why he left the Hornets?
What brings basketball to Vegas?
Yeah, what if he does that because he knows LeBron wants to do it in 2 years?
Hey, I'm all for.
That'd be crazy.
I'm a proponent of bringing basketball here, but I'm all for like an expansion franchise here.
There's a lot of there's just a lot of good parity in sports right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, and
it's kind of like if an NFL franchise did this, like it wouldn't be like a pushover. I don't think in year one.
For what?
If we have like an expansion NFL franchise, I don't think it'd be a pushover because the league is so deep now.
I gotta be curious on how an NFL expansion franchise would play out. I mean, do you have to start from scratch, or are you going to actually draft? I don't even remember the last expansion franchise. I mean, 96
Jaguars, maybe.
No, the Texans in 02. I think they drafted like Tony Baselli, I think, and Aaron Glenn. I don't remember. That was. It seems so long. It was 20-something years ago, but I can't imagine these teams and who you would get from teams now in an expansion draft. It'd be wild. I don't think any league does any league right now need expansion. Like
the major four, I don't think anyone needs it. I think they're all pretty dang good right now.
Like, yeah, I mean, football, I can't imagine needs expansion.
NBA could because there's so much super teams.
There is a lot of super teams, but I mean, at the same time, like, if you contracted,
a lot of dumpster fires too, though.
You contracted like Orlando or Portland
and Charlotte,
or Charlotte, and move them out to Vegas or something.
Houston, I get it, yeah.
Now, Houston's had success. I feel like Orlando really hasn't. Portland really hasn't. The newer iteration of Charlotte hasn't. You're right. New Orleans. You can right. Teams. Would we really shed a tear for those teams?
No, Florida.
Put New Orleans in the real West. I mean, I can't believe New Orleans in the Western Conference and they're in the Eastern time zone.
Let's get to a safety break, and then after that, we're going to talk about will the Nuggets become a dynasty? Mike has an awesome take on this. Florida, that's one. Right, let's do this one instead. There we go.
If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others. Thank you.
You're welcome. We are back here presented by Fanatics thanks to Aaron Crouch's introduction of clicking that F. Okay. Aaron, I ask you this. Will the Denver Nuggets become a dynasty? I have a take on this, but I want to hear your side of the aisle in Vegas first.
So this is always tough, and we do this all the time, obviously. Sometimes it does, occur, and sometimes it doesn't. Obviously we've got the Warriors dynasty as of the most recent, but there's a ton of dynasties in the NBA. It's tough. This is really tough. I feel like if they
comparison, I want to say this real quick. For comparison, the Raptors and the Bucks and the some iteration of the Suns have been like the recent teams that could have been.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, looking at those, if the Bucks were to get one now, I mean, could you make the argument? What's that? 2 and 4 years? I think this iteration of the Denver Nuggets, if it was constructed and had not changed, no. I believe that if you could get a more competent or consistent third option versus Michael Porter Jr.,
I'm back.
I think you could. I think you could look at a situation where you have a dynasty of a big, honestly, maybe even a big five where, I think if you can find a 2, I don't know who that is. I mean, I don't, you would be better at figuring out where the 2 would come from or who the 2 would be, even like a Jimmy Butler. And that's the first name that comes to mind, but he's not leaving Miami. But if you had a situation where you had like Jamal running point, or even like CP3 running point, and Jamal moving to the 2, I think you could look at a situation where CP might get a ring and a dynasty could start forming. Ultimately, I don't think so, but it's hard to argue against Nikola Jokic. This was a coming out party for him, and I'm so happy that we were all able to see it and people were actually paying attention to it. And even Colin Cowherd came out the other day. He, of course, tried to tiptoe around it and say that, obviously it's a regular season award, but giving Joel Embiid the award was basically an anti-Jokic vote of the MVP award. It was not
putting it lightly.
Exactly. It was not a pro Embiid awarded MVP this year. It was an anti-Jokic, which again, the funny thing for me, the thing that makes me the most happy is that he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care.
At all.
That post-game press conference had me in tears. Are you?
He says, "Oh, there's a parade. I want to go home."
Parade. When is parade? Thursday? Oh no, I have to go home. Like
I thought it was actually kind of sad because I was like, dude, this guy really wants to go home, and he's like, dang, I've got to do more for this crap.
Yeah, and the other, like, he's like, I love, he's like, everybody hates their job. Like, you play basketball for a living. I love it. Like, basketball for him is just a job, and I know that's turned into it for a lot of people, like a means to an end to make massive amounts of money and get as much as you can to get out of the game. Like, he still loves the game, but it doesn't consume him. He doesn't want the spotlight. I don't know if you saw the picture when they were hoisting the I guess it's the Bill Russell trophy now. He was all the way back in the corner. Like, the whole picture of the team, he wasn't anywhere near the team. He doesn't want any of these accolades. He lost the MVP trophy. He doesn't know where it is. He has no idea where it is. I put it down somewhere and I don't know. I went back and it was gone. It's fantastic to see. Now, is he good for the marketing of the game? No, but a guy like me who's not the biggest NBA fan, like, I love this. Like, he's not the rah, look at me, look how ridiculous I can act on and off the court. He's not any of that stuff. And it makes it fun to kind of watch him. And then he's living proof, and it's the last thing I'll say, he's living proof that those big guys of the past would do just fine in this era.
Good, and that goes to your Shaq debate too.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm now of the mindset Shaq is closer to Kobe than I thought. I was looking at a recent video. I realized how dominant he was in those finals.
He's
versus
incredible.
Kobe. I was like, wow.
And Kobe said it too. If Shaq had my work ethic, he'd be the best player by leaps and bounds of all time.
That's what he said. Yeah, that's true. And Kobe's very smart. That doesn't come from nowhere. That doesn't come from a guy talking. Like, Kobe is like LeBron level smart. Like, he remembers things like photographically. So,
Agreed.
My thing, and this, at the expense of my Miami Heat, it was frustrating. A stat that I saw that Sammy Action sent us this morning was the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors have been in like 14 of the last 15 NBA finals or whatever, 13 of the last 14, and they've never met each other in the finals. That was an insane stat. But for the Nuggets, I do believe this has the best chance. All of this is barring health, obviously. But I'm going to tell you one thing that Jokic does well. And I think Giannis gets lost in this, but I think Giannis is also one of those awesome superstars who really, he's not as humble or comes across not as humble. But Giannis is from Greece. He wasn't raised being some, sought-after middle schooler. Giannis is a guy who I think is a fun guy to root for, too. I just want to say that before I make this point.
Sure.
Jokic is a far better passer. Obviously, but Jokic has an all-around game. And to me, that matters because Giannis has a killer thing. And I don't like to do the free throw thing a lot, but free throws also mean no jumpers. Now, Jokic's free throws are not the greatest, but he can at least shoot some threes and hit some jumpers. Giannis can't. You wall him up, and it's like he turned. And that's why you look at these regular season awards, like they play all these crappy teams during the year, in the playoffs, like, well, now we see who the best player really is. So it's frustrating seeing that. I think they're both great, but really this question is sent from me comparing it to Giannis, because you are right. If the Bucks win it next year, who knows what conversation we're having? But right now, Jokic is a 2-time MVP, should be 3-time MVP, and Jokic and Jamal Murray are good enough to hold that fort down. Even if Michael Malone somehow isn't there, although I think he will stay there because the Nuggets have seemed like they're loyal to him. I believe if they can have enough moving parts around them that are good enough, I think this team showed that they're the next. They're going to be contender for a long time, more so than the Bucks will, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, you can look at a lot of different teams and their setups right now in terms of, contenders. I mean, what are the Suns going to look like with Book and KD next year? Who's going to run that offense? Are they going to draft somebody? Are they going to bring somebody in? The Warriors, they're getting old fast. The Bucks got old real fast. I mean, Chris Middleton can't stay healthy. Drew Holiday's very, night and day. The Lakers, what are the Lakers now? I mean, in this run they had
and broken down.
But this run they had that nobody expected, are they going to try to retool it? Or are they going to just go right back with what they had? Bring back Rui, bring back Reeves. The Celtics, what are they doing with their two guys? I mean, they got all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, or better the last 2 years. Philly, now Doc Rivers, new regime. Are they going to run this Harden, Embiid, and Maxey out again for another try in the process? Like, who seems the most put together, and that's Denver. I mean, and it's easy to say that because they just won the title. We do this every year, but
it was such a good run, though, Aaron. Like, in my opinion, I'm going to cut you off, but it seems like Denver. Every team's got a lot of role players that will hit or miss shots. Denver's guys were the most consistent, even against the Durants and the Bookers, against LeBron and the Davises. Nuggets were up here in terms of consistency, and that mattered more than just star power, 50-point game every now and again. And humility matters.
And I think another thing that matters when you talk about humility is what happens to the star of Jamal Murray. Now, how does he react to now really being – because remember, he was the guy who couldn't stay healthy, it seemed, for 3-4 years. And, now he becomes maybe a media sensation. Maybe he tries to stay out of it. I don't know. I don't know his personality that well. But how does he capture the spotlight or deflect it? Does he take the Nikola Jokic route? What do they do with this team? Do they just stand pat and, hope it plays out? Or do they try to improve this team? Like I said, you go get a Chris Paul. Does Chris Paul really mess up your chemistry? I
think Jaylen Brown would be good because with Boston, maybe wanting him and maybe wanting Beal instead of Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown would be a great little humble, hardworking piece.
Yeah, I mean, Jaylen Brown at the 2 or the 1, splitting it with Murray. I mean, there's always ways to get better, obviously. It's just, what do you want to do with this chemistry? I mean, Michael Porter Jr. as a third option is not in your best interest, even though it worked. Of course it worked, I know. But, he had a big game out of Aaron Gordon, which helped when, other guys weren't stepping up.
Christian Brown is good.
Yeah, that's a little kid out of Kansas, isn't he? He's pretty good, Christian Braun.
He's won a championship at all 3 levels.
Good for him. Some guys have all the luck. But it's your question of this becomes a dynasty if you can find a way to make it more formidable than it already is. And they've got a couple options in the offseason.
I'll throw in a hypothetical trade. I don't know if it'll happen. I'll have to look at the salaries of this too. But if the salaries line up, what if the Nuggets trade Michael Porter Jr. and maybe Christian Brown, like some other role player and some pick or whatever for Jaylen Brown? Do the Celtics say no? Or do the Nuggets say no?
I think the Celtics would say no in that spot.
I
think, yeah. I mean, they're not going to take Michael Porter Jr. It's going to be hard to unload Michael Porter Jr. without having to give up a first with it for a guy like Jaylen Brown. I think the other scenario, and one we haven't talked about, but that's been actually floating out there right now, is what if they start kicking the tires on Bradley Beal?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If the Celtics can get Beal and Porter Jr. and just give up Jaylen Brown in the process, I think they might do that. It might be to their downfall. Huh?
I was talking about Denver trying to get Bradley Beal.
I think Beal's too much of a star. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, it would disrupt necessarily the flow, but I think Beal. I mean, yes, he's a star, but he hasn't been a in your face kind of star. He's been quiet. He let John Wall do his thing. He let Russell Westbrook come in and do his thing. He's a star in terms of talent. I just don't think he's a guy who demands face time. Also
wonder where Dame goes too.
Yeah, I mean,
Dame's a humble one.
I'm not. I don't think Portland's trading him to Denver though. They're shipping him out of the West if anything.
That's why would you give him to the Nuggets? That's a good point. Yeah.
If you're the Spurs with the number 1 pick and they said we'll give you Dame straight up, would you trade Dame for the number 1 pick?
I need more than just Dame. I need more.
Curiosity. I don't know. I mean, like the thing is, we're talking about all these situations to mess with Denver, but right now as it stands, they don't need anything. They're the best team. They showed it, and I would like my flowers for just a second for picking them on that side of the bracket. Everybody said it doesn't matter. They're going to get bounced, but they stayed healthy. They've showed they're a formidable opponent to anybody in this league. And Nikola Jokic, I know you're not watching this, and you probably don't even have social media, but you were a treat to watch these playoffs. And you've got a guy who was almost to the anti-NBA sentiment point watching NBA again. So that's a tip of the cap, in my opinion.
He is cool. He's a very. I do like the fact that he doesn't give a crap. Like he just wants to play basketball, win, and leave. I love it.
I don't have to hear him. I don't have to hear his thoughts on the world.
Kyrie, the opposite of Kyrie, yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's the opposite of freaking 90% of the league.
His thoughts on the world.
I just get to watch him play basketball at a high level and not have to hear anything he thinks.
That's a good point. All right. We're going to be right back. Aaron's got a draft for us. Good Lord. Oh. His thoughts on the world.
I mean, am I not wrong? Right. I mean, we go to sports to get away from the shit that goes on in the world.
Yeah. This is an explicit episode, by the way. Go ahead.
I have to put the PG-13 logo on there. Right. Welcome back here to the Friday edition, the Fantasy Draft Friday edition of the AM Drive, presented by these guys at Agridime. You don't know what Agridime is? It's time you learn. They are producing and shipping and selling high quality meats in time for grilling season. We are getting weather's warming up, but you wouldn't know it by what's going on. So it just rained this morning over here. It never rains in the summer in Vegas. But basically visit Agridime store or go to mikeandaarondrive.com, click the Agridime logo, shop till you drop, get all the essentials you need for this summer's grilling season. Use code AMDRIVE for 10% off your order when you sign up. It helps out this channel
tremendously.
Tremendous.
You know what? That's a great word. You know what though? We do. We gracias. We all that good stuff. Speaking of great weather, I had a tornado. Well, I actually don't wish I'd seen it. There's a pretty big tornado around here, like the other day, probably Thursday night or Wednesday night. And it's funny, after the Nuggets win the whole thing, and after the Knights win, I don't know what happens. But my dad said he's lived here since like 1996, and he's never seen winds that high. So kind of scary. The world sucks, and it's getting worse every day. But no matter which part of the world you look at, but yeah.
Quick tangent before we get into the fantasy draft. If you lived in South Florida and you were a diehard South Florida sports fan, how would you be feeling right now?
looking for the strongest ceiling in the house.
Go Marlins.
Right. Or go Messi. What is soccer? I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's true. That's a whole big thing as well. Yeah. All right, Fantasy Draft Friday, boys and girls. It is cookout time. It's summer. Get those grills out. Take the covers off. Charcoal's ready. In honor of cookout season and our friends at Agridime, we are going to be drafting our ultimate cookout. 2 entrees, 2 sides, and that pesky barbecue dessert. What do you bring to a cookout when you come? And what is you eating at the cookout as well? All right. I think I got the first pick because you had first pick last week. So I am going to go with the barbecue baby back ribs as my number one. I mean, it's the classic. It's the, there's no other. I know there's a lot of great things, but I feel like I've got to go with the baby back ribs, which are the ultimate staple of, in my opinion, a great barbecue cookout.
Heck yeah. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to have great barbecue entree, but my first entree, and it's going to suck. It's going to be stupid. I'm a burger guy, but I'm not going to do burger. I'm going to do grilled hot dogs. Because to me, those are better than grilled hamburgers. And I don't know why. It sounds stupid. But give me those grilled, dark, brownish red hot dogs. I forgot what. I don't know if it's ballpark. It may be ballpark.
You want like a brat or a kielbasa or anything? You just want a regular?
No. Great just ballpark hot dogs, baby.
Must be ashamed to lose this draft on the first pick.
No. No. Go ahead.
All right, well, I'm back to the entrees. And for me, this is a cookout / this is like a barbecue festival type thing. I love a good brisket sandwich.
Wow.
A nice, juicy smoker. The juice is running down. You cut it up, crispy on the outside, pink smoke ring on the inside. Brisket sandwich, number 2 pick. Ship it.
That's a barbecue. Great, Agridime. No, that's a barbecue sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I should have thought of that first. Good Lord, I'm stupid. I don't have them a lot, but they're up there. That's a tough pick. Guess let's do hamburgers then. Hot dogs, hamburgers, baby. We're doing it.
I left you pulled pork. You could have done pulled pork. Sausage.
Because I was going to put on a sandwich. Who cares?
That's fair. All right. Well, I'm going to divert over to my dessert because any cookout I go to has to have this item because it is tradition. It reminds me of America, and it's apple pie.
Okay, good.
Pie. Any cookout complete with apple pie for dessert is one I want to be at.
I'm going to tell on you again. I'm going to do my dessert as well. I'm going to do banana pudding. Is that bad?
It's just an interesting spot. I love banana pudding, but it's you can't spell banana pudding without an L, Michael.
That's a weird way of spelling that, but okay.
Ball-nana.
Or baseball.
All right. I'm going to the sides, my 2 sides. Now, I have 4 good sides. Actually, I have 3 good sides and an okay side. I hope to not have to use the okay side, which I don't think I will. I'm going to go with my first side. And some people can do this wrong, but when it's done right, it's absolutely incredible. And that's potato salad. Potato salad is absolutely, what do you mean, God? Potato salad is one of the best barbecue sides, actually one of the best sides that you can have with your food. Mustard, don't forget the mustard and mayonnaise. A lot of people do that. You throw a little bacon in there, I think you got me as well.
Wow. Veggie Tales.
Fat kids drafting fat foods.
Me. I'm the one doing that. Potato salad's not a fat food.
Yeah, it is.
It's freaking vegetables.
That's high in carbs.
It doesn't taste like it. Okay, this would be good for your barbecue. Bush's baked beans with bacon inside of them.
That was my next pick.
Good. Finally.
You got one that was on my list. All right, well, my okay side I didn't want to have to go with is corn on the cob. I didn't want to have to pick one.
Thank
So
God.
you can have that one. I'm gonna take mac and cheese.
Oh, you son of a gun! Darn you!
I'm gonna take mac
That
and
was
cheese.
the one.
I want to be at this party right here.
Wow. Okay. So this is gonna suck, but ew. So I want to do this. I'm gonna have to. Wait. 25 games for John Morant. Boo.
Breaking news.
Yeah, that's wow. Wow. Got it right, NBA. Not. Okay.
For a toy gun, right? What?
That was bad. We didn't talk about that one. That was bad. I don't want to do this, but I'm just going to do it anyways. I can't do it.
What?
It's a barbecue, right?
Yeah.
This is so bad. I'm ashamed of my hot dog hamburger meal with this. Barbecue chips. Come on. Kettle cooked barbecue chips.
I mean, you've already lost this draft, so whatever you
Shut up. You
All right.
stole mac and cheese.
You could have at least had corn on the cob. That was better.
Oh, give me a break. Boo. Boring.
Some grilled corn on the cob or a nice baked potato.
Yeah, baked potato. You and your dang baked potatoes, man.
Although baked potato, I don't really consider a cookout item, so that's fair.
I might. That's a good point, actually.
With the rundown, I'll run down mine. Baby back ribs at the number 1 pick. Brisket sandwich number 2. American is apple pie at number 3. Potato salad and mac and cheese rounding out the 4 and 5 slot as my sides. Why don't you let the people know what you decided on?
I would have done mac and cheese third, but I decided not to, okay? I knew. I told myself that was a bad strategy. It was a bad strategy. Hot dogs and hamburgers with the baked beans, barbecue chips, and banana pudding. These food drafts are horrible.
I can't wait for this graphic to come out on social media.
It will say cookout, okay?
That's fine. You can put it however you want. Ultimate cookout / barbecue.
That's right. Oh, my God. Which grill are you using? How about that?
Which grill?
Yeah.
In the back, I got I think it's a charbroil. I have 2 grills, actually. I have 2 grills and a smoker out back. I have a charcoal grill, electric smoker, and a gas grill. I'm going to use
gigantic bowls that they have now.
The eggs.
No fool. Deviled eggs would have been a good side, by the way. No, I don't like them, but yeah.
Yeah, would have been a good side. No, I think they're called the Big Green Egg.
Like a big stone bowl, and like you put like a grill thing on top. I forgot what they're called. We have them.
Yeah. I know they have a grill that's like a ceramic grill, it's called the Big Green Egg. My uncle swears by it. He's a big griller himself, so
he swears by it.
He swears by it. Just bread and butter. So ultimately,
remember, I just want to say this: Aaron does not like athletes that share their thoughts on the world.
I don't know. That
was bad.
At what point can we go back to watching sports for sports?
Good point.
So, anyways, I don't care. That's going to get a lot of hate. I'll probably be canceled just like you are.
Yes.
Look for the graphic here. Let us know who won the draft. What are some of your favorite cookout / barbecue items as well? Post those, comment below, etc., etc. So enjoy your sports weekend, which is pretty much just baseball now at this point, the dog days of summer. But enjoy your sports weekend. We'll see you on the other side to talk. Probably start breaking into some NFL now that
finally
hockey and hoops are over. So for Michael Carvelis, I'm Aaron Crouch saying, enjoy the sports weekend, gamble responsibly, and as always,
drop shife.